Very recently, the NBA lost an iconic legend and the greatest winner that the game has ever known, the 11-time champion Bill Russell. Russell wasn't just a legend on the court, but off of it as well, as he was seen as a respected and larger-than-life personality who surely left a lasting impact on the generations after him. Many content creators have honored Bill with videos that cover the story of his life and legacy. I thought I would honor him by providing information that you may have not heard before. Here's numerous facts about the career of Bill Russell. One of Russell's greatest friends, and throughout his career one of his greatest rivals, was the legendary center Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt and Bill had a legendary rivalry for the ages, as the Giants clashed on a regular basis, as they both attempted to assert their dominance over the league. One of the reasons their rivalry is so legendary is because of how many times these two competitors battled it out. Some of the other greatest rivalries of NBA history would be Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird, Michael Jordan versus Isaiah Thomas, LeBron James versus Steph Curry, Shaquille O'Neal versus Kobe Bryant, and Kevin Durant versus Russell Westbrook. But what's crazy is that all of these other great rivalries combined still don't have as many games played against each other as Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain had by themselves, as the two battled it out a total of 143 times throughout their careers. Bill was never known to be an explosive scorer, but he did impact the game in numerous other ways, primarily with his rebounding, defense, and passing. With that being said, in the history of the league, there have only been 9 times where a player has averaged less than 20 points per game and still won the league MVP. Astonishingly, Bill Russell has 5 of those specific MVPs, which is more than the rest of league history altogether. Speaking of Bill's non-offensive impact, many people often consider him as the greatest defensive player to ever live. But unfortunately, many of our modern-day defensive statistics didn't exist during his career. But one of the ones we do have are his defensive win shares. He didn't just dominate this stat, but based on how much he owned it, the stat might as well be named after him. Bill played a total of 13 seasons in the NBA, and incredibly, he led the league in defensive win shares in 11 of those seasons. Second place on the all-time list doesn't even have half as many seasons as Russell did, which was George Mikan and Tim Duncan, who led the league 5 times apiece. Right behind John Havlicek is Paul Pierce for the most points ever scored by a Boston Celtic. Pierce was known as the truth and could score a ton of buckets in a small amount of time. With his lethal shooting, Pierce made a name for himself in the NBA playoffs with his many high-scoring affairs. With that being said, remarkably, Bill Russell has more games in the playoffs with at least 30 rebounds than Paul Pierce does with at least 30 points. Bill Russell was a winner, we all know this, but he wasn't simply a winner based on his luck and circumstances. The main reason he was so successful is because he was arguably the most clutch basketball player to ever live. Russell played in a total of 10 deciding Game 7s throughout the course of his career, and he never lost a single one of them. He was leaned upon heavily in those games as he played 488 out of a possible 495 minutes. If Bill isn't dominating without taking almost any rest, then they likely lose some of those Game 7s, as 6 out of those 10 games were decided by only one possession. The reality was that if Russell had an off night in any one of those Game 7s, then he's losing a championship ring because of it. But instead, we now remember him as the legend who has more rings than fingers. Nikola Jokic and Wilt Chamberlain are often recognized as the greatest passing big men of NBA history, which is warranted, but often overlooked in that aspect is Bill Russell, whose court vision and unselfish nature allowed him to be one of the all-time great givers as well. Russell actually has the 3rd highest career assists per game average among centers in NBA history, reaching as high as 5.8 in 1967. Bill had many modern players that he developed a close relationship with, and he had a high level of respect for many of those players. But there was only one player who Russell referred to as his absolute favorite, and that was the San Antonio Spurs legend, Tim Duncan. The statement from Bill came from a discussion with Duncan many years ago, and he equated his fondness to their similarities and the fact that Duncan played hard, played smart, and won championships. It makes sense given how similar these superstars were in their approach to the game and their quiet lead by example type style. As I've already alluded to in this video, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain had a very fierce rivalry, to the point of the two being extremely petty with one another at times. Well, in 1965, Wilt Chamberlain signed a 3-year, $100,000 contract, which at the time made him the highest paid player in the NBA. When Bill Russell caught news of this, he was furious and demanded that the Boston Celtics pay him more than Wilt Chamberlain, otherwise he would consider retiring on the spot. The Celtics obliged and renegotiated Russell's contract and increased his income from $75,000 to $100,001, so that he was now the highest paid player in all of the NBA. These are just some of the amazing facts and details about Bill Russell. What are some of your favorites about him? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.